There's some days when you sit there and you just log on to Twitter, you log online, and you can't help yourself but to read some absolute garbage that comes across the Twitter space. So on Twitter, we've got someone out there complaining how playing video games is a childlike juvenation for the adult men in your life. There's some days you just shake your head. You're like, really? This is where we're at now? This post that came out online is getting a little bit of traction. I saw this on a Sunday when I'm videotaping this. The problem with video games is mainly that they're juvenile. That's right, you're a child if you play video games. Apparently, the 3 billion people on the planet that play video games, they're all children. They're all children. We are not allowed to be grown-ups. We are only children in the eyes of the elite. When a child plays make believe with his friends, this is a playful stage he grows out of. Do they? Do they really? Do you often daydream at work? Do you do things like make a paper airplane? Because that's part of make believe. That's part of imagining. That's part of being yourself. And do you write a story? Do you open a book, for Christ's sakes? This is like telling you you can't read a book of a fantasy genre because it's escapism. When a grown man plays video games, he is playing make believe with his friends like a stunted child. Last I checked, I'm playing a work of art in a lot of cases. I'm going through the motions. I'm doing a lot of things in a video game that just happens to be more escapism and helps my mental health and helps me stay focused. In some cases, if you play like Final Fantasy, the older ones, you also had a reading comprehension behind them. If a grown man plays make believe with a child, then he taps into a childlike state for the sake of the child. Not really. There's a lot of times I go out there with my kid and I have his stuffed animals and I do things with that, trying to mimic things with the stuffed animal for my kid to copy and do. It's a helpful tool in that sense. If he were to act the same way with a grown man, he would be disordered. No, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. Have you seen some of the streams here with Phasmophobia, with me and Habanero? Maybe you should come on over. We can show you how to have fun in a video game and be make-believe. Maybe we will slay the dragon together. Like, that's what this is all about. It's having fun. What's worse is that video games mock that childlike state by inserting adult and grotesque content into a type of activity that is reserved for childlike innocence and play. Well, I gotta say, the video games of late are becoming much more grown up and much more on the risque side, where they get banned on TikTok or banned off Steam because they show too much, because they go into a almost pornographic state in that sense. Now, with most video games, they're not like that. There's a few odd exceptions to them all, but there's a lot of them. If you play, I remember growing up, and the biggest thing for a video game that was the problematic was if you got the Mortal Kombat game on your Super Nintendo or your Sega Genesis, because between the two, the Super Nintendo, it deleted all the blood, and the Sega Genesis had blood. That was the biggest thing of my childhood. That was the biggest controversy when it came to video games, other than the console wars, of course. Furthermore, video games act as a form of escapism, as do other pastimes in some cases. Well, go read a book then. But it's doubly offensive as it is an escapism into a world where he pretends to be a hero in a land with no consequences. You know what the consequence is when you fail at a video game? You die. But you know what the difference is with the gamer? They just fade away. They grow up, they level up each year, but they just fade away over time. You can always find another one up and continue on doing it. Repetition in some games like Mega Man in particular, or Super Mario Brothers, is a good thing because you learn new skills with that. I'm a tradesman. I sit there and I do a lot of things as a tradesman, but when I went through the apprenticeship, there was a lot of things that was repetitive. like doing splices for a three-way switch, or doing a splice in a plug or in a light, or just generally learning how to do certain things. Repetition is key, and it makes you a better person or a better tradesman, and you gain the better skills through that repetition. Once you do it a million times over and over, then you become a master in it, and you don't even have to think about it, and you do it. That's the difference when it comes to these video games. Not so much that it's a land without consequences. It's a land where you're gaining new skills on how to do certain things over and over again. This differs from the enjoyment of other forms like the art of movies and books, where there's a clear separation between the recipient and the created work, whereas with video games, a man titillates his ego with the fantasy wherein he is the lord of a non-existent destiny. Go see a movie, man. Have you seen some of the movies nowadays? Like, seriously, this is where you are now with video games, where we're not allowed to enjoy video games because you're going to pick on video games overall. This When a man reads a great war heroes, he is humbled by the fact that they are greater than him. There's a lot of video games where they're greater than the person. Hell, if you caught my Mega Man live stream, you could see me fail over and over and over again. But I still persevere, and I got through 2 stages very recently. When he pretends to be them, he conflates his virtual titillation with a reality that's not even real. Grow up. Just grow up. Be the gatekeeper if you really want to be. If you have a problem, this many problems with video games, don't play them. Don't worry about them. Go out and actually go touch grass, because that's what this is. That's what this is. I respond to this saying, just shut up. Video games are a mental health benefit. The enjoyment from them does more for a person than this elitist bullshit take. And that's exactly what it is. Anyway, I'm your Prod Canadian Phoenix, Cineshadow, signing off here. Don't forget to like and subscribe.